This is Andy Tube. In this video I'm going to share with you an odd problem I found on a slant needle hand wheel. Never encountered this before, never heard of it happening before, so maybe nobody needs to watch the video because I think the chances of you coming across it are pretty slim. But it was so unique that I recreated the problem, and I'm going to tell you about it and how I fixed it. So this is a model 404, very clean, very nice, 9 out of 10 cosmetically. There's 2 minor chips on it, beautiful machine. The seller estimated it's been in storage for about 40 years. And bought it. Didn't try it, didn't touch it, showed it to me in the case. I paid him for it, brought it home, and the first investigation I do is just to see if the hand wheel turns, and I encountered problems right away where sometimes it would turn, and sometimes then it would turn and then stop at a different place. Sometimes it would stop in the normal counterclockwise motion. Sometimes, like this, it would stop going clockwise. It's like, okay. So I pulled out the bobbin case and everything, and I mean, the machine's just gorgeous. I thought, man, and it's a 404. I mean, there's no swing needle, there's no zigzag, there's no cam stack, you know. Took the bottom cover off and examined it, pulled out the motor, and anyway, I'll show you what I found. So I finally decided to pull out the hand wheel and see if something was wrong in the Textolite gear. I didn't see any little pieces of gear, and I've only been shown a picture of one of them that broke with some teeth missing, but here we go. If you don't know how to take off the hand wheel, this is the clamp stop motion, clamp stop screw. Continuing with Singer's propensity to put the longest name on the smallest parts. So we're going to take that out, okay. Then we're just going to hold here and turn. This is the clamp stop motion clamp nut, and we're going to turn it counterclockwise to the left to take it off. And if you see that little chip right there, that's from somebody dropping this on the side of the hand wheel. So if you've never done it, it's a lot heavier than you think. You know, it's solid steel and triple chrome plated, so be careful with that, okay? Okay, so the next thing in here is the clamp stop motion clamp washer. And when you tighten this, that's what engages this to the arm shaft, so it makes everything go. So we're going to take that off. This is also solid steel. And another way to do this is to slide the hand wheel a little bit towards you and see if you can get a grip. There we go. You can also stick something behind it and pry it off. Okay, so the clamp stop motion clamp washer. Alright, so here's the biggest part of this system that we're going to work with, and it has the shortest name, hand wheel. So I had a little trouble getting this off, even with the motor taken out. So there's no pinion gear from the motor shaft connecting to the tensolite, to the hand wheel gear, but here's what we see when we take it off. Now, I've cleaned it up a little bit. It wasn't quite this clean, but the first thing I noticed pulling it out, did you see that? That's not supposed to happen. So, what's going on, right? So I'm going to take this off. This is just the hand wheel gear. It's a type of nylon called Textolite. Beautiful condition, isn't it? Then in here is a hand wheel gear spring. I'm going to see if I can pull it. I'll pull it out here for you. I know I can do it because I already took it out. And I'm going to show you how to put it back in properly, because I have found a couple times where this wasn't put in properly. There. So in a way it's a little bit like a thick snap spring, but or snap connector, but this is much thicker and much stronger, and that actually helps cushion the hand wheel action when you start and stop sewing, so that the jarring motion doesn't go to the gear and the rest of the parts. And then this is the hand wheel. Okay, so if you can see this little groove right here, there's supposed to be a hand wheel snap ring right connected right in that groove. It goes over like that and snaps on and holds the spring and the gear in place. and for some reason that was missing. And then I said, okay, let me just turn the shaft here, and I hadn't even oiled the machine, right? And it started turning, and I said, well, I don't see that it's getting stuck or it's binding any place, you know. It turns, and the heel goes up and down, the feed dog moves. Then, wait a minute, what's this in here? Then we find out what happened to the snap ring. Look at that. Maybe I can get it. Can you see that? Uh-oh, broken right in half. And so I think what was happening with these pieces migrating to the back here, and then when the hand wheel would rotate, see this big counterbalance on the arm shaft here? When it would rotate down and the heavier part would get down in here, it would bounce around those broken snap ring parts and sometimes hang up in here. So that explains that. Okay, so what I had to do was replace this, and my concern was finding one of the correct size. You can buy snap rings at any hardware store and the big box stores and stuff, and places like Harbor Freight and Amazon. But Singer has this their usual mode of operation was that the screws and nuts and bolts and parts like this that they used on their machines were not standard American size or UK size. They were something a little different. It might have one more thread per inch. It might be an odd size. And that's what I found with this. I took this to the hardware store, took my hand wheel, and I took my little snap ring pliers, right? This is a little plier set that came with 4 of these different plier parts, this has a 90-degree angle, and the way you put it on this part when you change it is you either connect it to these bottom pins, so when or the top. When you connect it to the top, when you squeeze the plier, it works opposite, right? It doesn't squeeze close, it squeezes open. So you can open up that snap ring a little bit, slip it on what you're putting it on, and then let it go and it snaps on. So anyway, sure enough, a 3/4 inch, let me get this going here, see if I can put something down here. A 3/4 inch snap ring, when I first tried it, seemed way too small. So I said, okay, let me get the inch snap ring. And the inch snap ring went on pretty good, but when it was on, it would just spin around in that groove. It didn't really hold tight. And there's just the groove is a little bit wider than the snap ring, so the gear, when I ran the motor, I'm worried it's going to, you know, like vibrate or wobble back and forth just a little bit against the steel pinion gear and damage or wear out this Textilite gear. So I figure instead of being a 14/16 of an inch or 16/16 or 1 inch, so in other words, instead of 7/8 or 1 inch, Singer made this 15/16. Those little devils. And you know, the reason they did that, the couple Singer repairmen told me, was they wanted the owner of the machine to have to bring it to a Singer store to get it serviced or repaired. They didn't want to take it to a handyman or another brand of sewing machine store or anything like that. They wanted you to have to bring it to them, which I don't blame them. You know, hey, they made it. So anyway, I went back to the 3/4 inch size, and you have to really work at it, but once you get it into that groove, I think it's going to work great. I didn't have the gear with me to test, but we're going to try it right now. Okay, so first let's talk about the way this hand wheel gear spring goes on. When you're looking at your slant hand wheel, let's see, is this too much glare? Is that showing up good? Maybe it's glare on my camera lens. Puts a lot of shadow. Let's try this. When you're looking at this, you're going to see 3 posts that stick up. Okay? And I don't know, you could call them pin or post, but they're set right into the aluminum hand wheel. And when you put this on, and it doesn't matter this way or that way, but this circle part on the right has to go in the middle of the 3 pins. So here's the middle one. I got right, middle, left. And when I put this on, I've got to slip that opening, or little ring, I'll call it, onto the, oops, maybe I can look to the side of the camera and see it better here. Or maybe I can turn my light back on, sorry. The old eyes are getting older. So this ring onto the middle post, right? See if I can hold it like that and line it up a little bit better and drop it in there. There we go. Okay? So the ring of the spring on the center post. puts the left side ring kind of halfway between the center post and the left post. Okay, and that's how the spring action is provided. Now, when you put the gear on, now this is the gear from a 404, right? See, this has one post. It's got some pins that set the metal braces into the gear, but it has one post. Where did that go? I had that in the light a moment ago. There it is. And that post has to go in the hole on the left side of the gear spring, right? We put the right hole on the center post. Now this post has to go into the hole on the gear spring on the left, and that's how the gear gets anchored. So you can see the post here. I'm going to line it up with the hole in that spring. Is it in there? Let's check. The spring has to sit flat. It's to be all the way on there. And then that post is going to line up with the hole. There we go. Now the way you can test this is to hold the hand wheel firm and turn the gear. See it snap back? And that's that little spring action when you start and stop the motor is to protect the jarring to the parts and to protect the gear. Alright, now we have to get the snap ring back on. And by the way, if you've never used the snap ring, this is just like a $9 set. And it came with the handle, and it came with 4 of the plier attachments that you know, one is straight, one's a 90, it's like that. And then you push this in and straighten the pin to take it off and put it on. Alright, so see if I can get this tips of my plier pushed into the holes. And again, you know, this is an $8 set, right? So you're not going to be changing stuff on your car transmission with these. But let's see if we can get it on here. The way I did it in the store was to kind of get one open edge over the rim of the hand, and then try and bring it down like that and let it go. Now, just like happened in the hardware store, it didn't quite get all the way in the rim. Like this end right here, the spring isn't all the way down in the groove, okay? It's sticking up a little bit out of the groove, this side. All the way around here it's in the groove, but this side is up. So what I'm going to do is try and just take this wood stick and push it down. It's metal to metal, and push it down and see if I can get it to fall down into the groove. And it did, and it's that easy. So now I have my hand wheel snap ring holding the hand wheel gear, which keeps the hand wheel gear spring inside the hand wheel. And I have my springing action in both ways, both directions. So that was a 79-cent fix. P. How you like that? Not that easy every time, let me tell you. Okay, so for those who are interested, I'll show you how to put the hand wheel back on. You know, if your motor's in, over here you're going to have your steel pinion gear on the motor shaft. So sometimes when you stick this in, you have to work to mesh the gears together. Okay? This would be a good time to put grease on it if you wanted to grease it. But however you want to put it on, you're going to put it on there. Okay, and you're going to gently get it back till it mates with the gear. You're on all the way. You can gently turn it. If you're looking up on the top here, you'll see the mesh of the gears. Perfect. Okay, then you have to put the clamp stop motion clamp washer, and you got a 50-50 chance of putting it on right. See these three little nubs that stick up, right? Those have to face out and face you. Okay, then as you saw when you took it off, there's two little ears that go into two little grooves on the arm shaft. So we'll just take a shot, and what I mean by a 50-50 is when you put on the clamp stop motion clamp nut and put in the screw, that screw, when you're loosening it to wind the bobbin, that screw is going to hit one of the three posts, which will take enough pressure off the clamp so when you run the motor, the hand wheel will turn and turn your bobbin winder, which doesn't have a a rubber tire right now, but that's what that's for. And sometimes when you put it on, it's in such a position that turning it is blocked, or you can turn it and it doesn't take off the pressure from the clamp. So you'll have either full motion to your needle bar, or you'll have what's called needle creep, where when you're winding the bobbin, the needle bar will still kind of slowly go up and down. And I got lucky, and I know I got lucky already, because there's one post here and one post over here on the clamp, and that's what we want, right in the middle. Now let's say you weren't lucky and you put it together, and then this didn't want to turn far enough to release, or when you turned it this way it wouldn't clamp enough to make the needle bar turn properly. So here's what you do. You have to take off the clamp stop motion clamp nut, and then you have to take your washer, and now you have to turn it 180 degrees from how you originally put it on. So in this case, you know, you would just grab it like that, put it like that, and then put it on, and then you'd be good to go. You put everything back together. In my case, I just got lucky. Okay, so put that on, and I'll put the clamp stop motion clamp nut, and then the smallest part with the longest name, I'll put the clamp stop motion clamp stop screw, because it stops when it hits one of those pins, right? And I'll just tighten that up a little bit. Yay. Okay, so when we hold the hand wheel and turn it to the right, it engages the washer to the arm shaft, which makes everything go. See, the needle bar will go up and down there and feed dogs and everything works. When you hold the hand wheel and you turn this counterclockwise or to the left, it turns, then it stops because your stop screw hit one of those pins. Now when the hand wheel turns, it's turned the hand wheel, but it's not clamped to the arm shaft or stuff, so feed dog doesn't move, needle bar doesn't move because the main arm shaft doesn't move. Okay? So there it is. There's my weird broken hand wheel snap ring on a Slant Needle 404 Singer sewing machine. There you go. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you next time, huh? Don't forget to take care of yourself.